Oh, you're going to love today's episode with Melanie Whittaker. It's how to become the real you. She's an expert in growth and marketing, and she's going to help you transform your pain into purpose. Let's go. Hey, I'm Steve Sapato, and you're listening to the Know, Like, and Trust podcast, where we help you become more than you were before. And here's what's important is I have the fantastic Melanie Whittaker on, and I'm telling you, today we're going to broach a topic that you all really need to hear, and that is how to become the real you that you want to become. Right, Melanie?
Absolutely, Steve. Absolutely.
Cool. And so one of the reasons we're here is because Melanie has a brand new book coming out, and you're going to want to get the dynamics of it. But let's talk about what we really are going to learn from Melanie as well as from her book. And that's going to be vital to your success. Because let's face it, most of us are afraid. We're afraid of being ridiculed. We're afraid of being made fun of. We're afraid. You know, one thing my wife said to me a long time ago, and now she says to everybody who says, how do you put up with that guy? She says, you know, I tried embarrassing him, and there's no way to embarrass this guy. And I'll tell you what, I do get embarrassed once in a while, but it doesn't happen often because I've learned it doesn't matter. You can be embarrassed to your heart's content and sit back in the shadows to your heart's content, but you will never become the person that you really want to be. And that's why we have Melanie. She's the expert on helping you grow, blossom, and become the person that you really feel like you want to be, right, Melanie?
Yeah. So I just want to say, just on what you said there, this book isn't just my book. It's a book collaboration, and I've written a chapter in it. And as soon as I saw the title of the book is called Transforming Pain into Purpose. And as soon as I saw that title, it really spoke to me. And I always wanted to tell my story, and I've kind of dabbled with it in my marketing, but only here and there. So nobody would really know because I don't really talk about it that much. But now when they read that chapter, they're going to see how I lived with a narcissistic mother. And I call my chapter Coming Out of the Shadows. I grew up being in my mother's shadow. I wasn't allowed to be me. She controlled everything I did. I didn't learn to be the real Melanie that I am now. I didn't know boundaries. There were no boundaries, you know. Also, I grew up, my dad wasn't a narcissist, but he enabled her. So all of my youth, I grew up hearing, don't do that, it will upset your mother.
Yeah.
Right?
Ooh. How many
there
people
was never any talk of, are you okay? Do you feel hurt?
How many of you, wait, okay, Melanie, hold on. How many listeners heard that? How many listeners really said, hey, don't do that, you'll upset? Right? Now, maybe you're in it right now. Maybe it's your husband or your wife. Don't do that, you'll upset. I was just sitting with somebody the other day, and he says, I don't do that kind of stuff because it always upsets her. Yikes! What a relationship to be in, and what a place to be in your life. Because sometimes, you know, when you were growing up, that molds you, and you say, well, I can't. Now you're saying to yourself, I can't do that. I'm not sure that's right for me. I don't feel comfortable doing that because you were taught to limit yourself. Right, Melanie?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because the reason I'm really happy about getting my story out is I know it's going to help a lot of people. It doesn't matter. They may not have had an narc mother. Maybe they had a narc father, or maybe they've had a narc relationship or a narc boss, you know?
Now, when she says narc, hold on. When she says narc, she means narcissistic. She doesn't mean narc like a cop, like a drug thing. Narcissistic. She says narc and it's narcissistic. Do you have somebody like that in your life? There she goes.
Yeah. And so I never put the pieces together until just recently, because when women, so I've not given background, have I? So I do marketing and I do public relations. And when you do public relations.
And she's damn good at it too, by the way.
You, Steve. When I do it, there's no hiding. You know, we're all on social media. We're all doing emails. You can hide behind that. You see lots of smoke and mirrors that goes on, and people are still hiding behind a persona. What I always say to my clients when they decide to go on the journey of PR, and I don't say this to worry them, but I just put it out there. And I say to them, at some point in this journey, even if they're a confident person, I do need to add that. At some point in this journey, the yuck is going to come up, because with every interview that you do, you are talking about yourself. Now, someone could have had the most amazing life, never had any problems, great family life, just life looks perfect, right? But we all have something that we don't feel good about. We all do, right? So what I say to them is, I'm not telling you this to worry you, but you're going to be in scenarios where questions are going to be asked. And sometimes it could bring something up that you've put to bed, but now you're addressing it. And so what happens is, when I get on calls with my clients, so many of them will say things like, do you think I could say X, Y, Z? And I never say yes or no. And I'll tell you why I don't do that, because that is their call. What I always say to them is X, Y, Z your truth? And then they just go, yeah. And I go, well, you are the only one that can say whether you want to talk about it or not, because it's your truth. I can't take that truth away from you, and no one can take that truth away from you. But you have to know in your heart, do you want to talk about it? And if it's something that you're prepared to talk about it.
You know, it's critical when we talk about these things that you do a self-introspection. I get introspection is self. Do introspection, which is what's holding you back? What's keeping... Example, I hate using the phone. I don't like using the phone. And the question is why? I go, rejection. People will reject me if I call them on the phone, right? Every salesperson in the world, not every, 90% of the salespeople in the world are afraid of the phone, afraid of rejection, afraid of being called out. And that's tough, because what made us decide that? Because let's face it, sometimes you like getting certain phone calls. Other times you don't. I run special events here. I'm the great MC for the events 5 months out of the year, and I love being the host of all these things and having fun on stage and being that person. But you know what? If somebody calls me and I answer the phone and they say, hey, Steve, this is about special events, I go, oh, yeah. And I'm open to talking about that. If they call up and say, hey, Steve, I'm thinking of selling you something. You know how they don't have to say I'm thinking of selling you something, but their voice and their demeanor and what their topic is. And I'm like, you know what? I don't think I'm interested. Thanks for calling. And they hang up. Now, that's not a personal rejection. I just don't want to talk to anybody about that topic at this point in time. But here's what I want you to know.
Yeah.
If you're calling the right people with the right message, they'll want to listen to it. So it's tough to say, I hate rejection, because you have to know what your message is. Every time you do something in your life, what message are you sharing with those people? So when Melanie says, hey, transforming your pain into purpose. What's your pain? Why do you have it? Have you faced up to that you have it? And then Melanie has coming out of the shadows as her particular topic. Coming out of the shadows. What does that mean, Melanie?
Well, for me, it's no longer having to live a life the way my mother wanted it lived. And it's no longer treading on eggshells, because when you deal with a narcissist, what made them happy yesterday can make them fly off the handle tomorrow. So you are always sussing out the mood of the day. But then there was always drama. Once I got to my teenage years, teenage years are volatile anyway, but she wanted an argument all of the time, to the point that I actually said, because they always ganged up on me and I was always in the wrong. So obviously when I'm like 16 years of age, I just said to them, do you know what? Let's not have the argument, because I'm going to be in the wrong. You're going to be in the right. So let's just knock this on the head, because I'm weary of arguing. The arguing goes nowhere. It makes her right and it makes me wrong, but you already agree that that's a scenario. So why do we have to have an argument about it and drain our whole personas when you're going to say she's right anyway?
You know what's
like,
curious
that's emotional
about
maturity.
That's right. You know what's curious about that is there are people, and my second wife was that way. There are people who are happy when they're unhappy. That makes no sense to me. How can you be happy when you're happy? But exactly what she said. They were always looking for an argument. They're always looking to create a problem. And sometimes it would be nothing. Sometimes you'd go, I don't understand what just happened. They flip a switch and suddenly they're in a bad mood. But what's important about that is, and I do relationship work. I've got a book out called the 20 Things You Need to Learn in Order to Find the Love of Your Life. And I've got an audio book, and I've got a book, and I've got a course that you can attend, right, in person for a day to learn. But what it means is you have to know who you're looking for, what you're looking for, if they're really going to match with you. There's a book out there called The 5 Love Languages. And if you haven't picked that up, read it, if you haven't taken the online quiz called the 5 Love Languages online quiz or something, you don't know what your partner really wants, and they don't know what you want. And so when we're talking about happy being unhappy, and we're talking about coming out of the shadows, people put you in places because you allow them to put you there. And one day you'll wake up and go, click, I'm not doing that anymore. My wife, my second wife, I spent 21 years in a miserable relationship because I didn't want to leave my son behind because she was emotionally abusive. So I said, I'm not going to leave him behind. But I stopped playing her game. When she'd get mad, I'd go, I got to go. And I'd go down to my office, or I'd walk outside, or I'd go into my swimming pool at the time. And all those are all things that you just go, when they want to play with your emotions or your mentality, you just say, hey, you know what? I know this game. I don't have to play. And that's what's critical to your love and success and happiness. Right, Melanie?
Absolutely. I learned very early on, when I was like 16 and older, for me to be mentally well, that I just didn't want to be sucked into the drama. But you know, what you've said there, you're so right. When it comes to a personal relationship, that is so pivotal. But you can liken that to a business relationship, especially when someone's starting out in business. You know, they want to be available all of the time because they want their clients to have the best service. But eventually they hit burnout. And so they have to have a barrier and a boundary that says, these are my working hours. After that, if you call or message after those hours, we will have to pick up the following day. And it can feel very hard to do that when you've been available all of the time, because obviously you want your clients and you'll do whatever's necessary. But then as you go further down this route of being in business, you actually realize that that's just not sustainable. And not only is it not sustainable, you're miserable. And that's not why we go into business. We go into business to do the work we love and to be happy about it.
You know, that's critical that you understand that everything she's talking about. First of all, if you buy her book and you read that chapter, I'm sure you're going to get a lot more clarity. If you want more information, Melanie, how do they get hold of you?
Well, I'll give you the link after we've done this interview, but they can go on there. And I know that September the 26th, the book is available for 99 cents, so they can do that.
Melanie, what if they just want to talk to you? You have knowledge that they want. So how do they just get hold of you?
Absolutely. So I will give you all my links, and I know you're going to put that when you publish this interview. They can contact me at my website, which is yourmarketing.com. You can see what I'm all about. I've got videos on there. You know, I wrote all the content. Like, it's all me, and it's all pink and just who I am, you know, my whole persona. They can catch me on LinkedIn under my own name, which is Melanie Whittaker.
Spell Whittaker.
They can find me on Instagram, which is, again, You Are Your Marketing.
Wait, spell Whittaker. You say you can
reach it, Melanie. WHITTAKER.
And Melanie's with one L. Melanie, Melanie, Whittaker, Whittaker. I like the way she says WHITTAKER. But that's the difference between England and America.
How would you say it?
Well,
how would you say
it? It's WH, not H. See, you say it wrong all the time. I mean, I won't hold that against you, but I was just watching a comedian about how somebody made fun of his H, and they spelled it. They spelled it for him. It's like HAITCH. It's not HAITCH. And he had this up, and it was a really fun little comedy sketch. But that's exactly what it is. So I want you folks to reach out. Melanie has information. She's a coach. She can coach you personally. If you're struggling with your emotions, if you're struggling with somebody who's narcissistic in your life and you're like, I'll tell you a quick story, Melanie. I had a lady 15 years ago, and she was struggling with her mother, right? Because her mother said this, and every time she'd take her little boy down, she was a single mom. So whenever she wanted to go out, she had to find a babysitter. She wasn't making a ton of money, so she always used her mom. And her big problem was every time she took the little boy over to her mom made her feel bad, right? Just said things and did things and made her feel bad. When she'd pick her boy up, her mom made her feel bad. And we talked about that at some length. And finally, after a month's worth of coaching, I persuaded her. I showed her that, you know what? How many times have you tried to change your mom and tell her? She says, I've tried to tell her a zillion. I went, has she changed? She says, no. I said, you see, you can't change somebody else. What you have to do is change you. And she said, I don't understand that. I go, it's real simple. If you know your mom's going to say something nasty to you when you take your son over, then just put it in your head and you say, I wonder how long it's going to take my mom to say something hateful to me, right? And make a bet with yourself. Will it be 10 seconds, 30 seconds? Will it be 5 minutes? And then when she says it, you smile and you go, there it is, right? It's no longer, I hate my mom for making me feel bad. It's like, I figured out that my mom's going to try and make me feel bad no matter what I do. So how long will it take her? Right? And it becomes a game that you can enjoy because then you walk out winning, go, it took her 30 seconds this time. Wow, that was really fast for my mom. Even for my mom, that was fast. You're not going to change her. Now, I will tell you this. Fast forward 5 years, I've stayed in touch with this person, and she fast forwarded 5 years later. I went, hey, by the way, how's it going with your mom? She goes, you wouldn't believe it. My mom has changed. You see, when she stopped playing her mom's game, her mom had to figure out the new game, and she became a nicer person. Not because she kept telling her to be nicer, but because she said, that's the way it is. And sometimes when it's a deal. So when you buy Melanie's book, and it's called Transforming Pain into Purpose, and it's out there September 26th. So when you're listening to this, you'll have an opportunity. We'll put a link down in the bio so that you will be able to buy the book. And I promise you, after you read Melanie's chapter, you will say, oh my gosh, I need to talk to her. And we'll have information on how you can talk to Melanie.
Oh, thanks so much, Steve.
Yeah. So we're getting down to like 5 minutes now, unfortunately. But one of the things that Melanie does marketing, right? She does all kinds of different things because she's very successful in her career. And one of the reasons we had her back on, she was on a few months ago. The reason we have her back on is because she figured out in her life that other people needed the help that she figured out. Right, Melanie?
Yes. It's interesting because I predominantly work with public relations. So that means I will create a pitch, I'll create a press release, and I'll get them interviewed like this on podcasts, in magazines, digital TV, newspapers, all that kind of thing. And it's interesting because I've just acquired, just before I came on this call, Steve, a new client. And it's funny because I don't talk about this enough. When a client decides they want to work with me, the first thing that I do is I go and check out their website and their social media. And there's a reason for that, because public relations puts a magnifying glass all over your digital online presence. Now, if you are going to go off and do these interviews and you are presenting yourself in a certain way, but then they go and find you online and you're nothing like that, you're going to lose people because there's a disconnect. So people are like, wow, I really enjoyed that podcast interview. I'll just go check out the website. And then they're like, that can't be the same person I listened to. Weird. So now you've lost them. So I'm actually going to start working with a new client.
I'm going to pause here because one of the greatest challenges is offering confusion to your clients. So there's all kinds of ways to lose them. One is not giving them defined solutions. One is offering confusion, right? And so offering too many alternatives. When you say, hey, do you want to be this or you want to be that? Or do you want to be this or do you want to do that? Or you want to do this? We're like, and we freeze up because that's too many choices, right? It's like when you buy a new car, it's like, you want a SUV? Do you want a sedan? Well, you come in and you go, I want an SUV. You go, good. You want red, you want yellow, you want green, you want blue. And people start to go, ooh, I can't decide. You go, well, let's look at the red one. And you narrow it down for them. if you give them too many opportunities, right? Do you want this package or that package? You want to have, and you're like, oh my Lord, right? And so
Yeah.
understand that you, with your clarity, help your people, your client, help yourself to make more money and become the person that you want to be.
Yeah. So true. So this new client I'm going to start working with, like, we're going to sit down and we're going to look at how she's showing up online because she's not happy with that. And
Oh,
so we're going to break that down. We're going to present it in a way that she feels comfortable with. And something I want to say now, because every single client I work with struggles with, and I know every woman out there struggles with it, especially if you've worked in corporate and we're so used to watching the news and everything's like so formal, you know? And when I talk to my clients, I always say, throw in your personality. Like, what are your hobbies? I don't want it all to be work. I want them to see your sense of humor. I want them to see your favorite coffee shop. I want them to see where you like to go for dinner, where you like to have holidays. If you've got a hobby, what's your hobby? What are you passionate about outside of work? Because here's the thing. Once people learn who you are as a person, once they've connected with that and they're like, oh, I like her vibe, I like the way she really loves this, because you can guarantee they're going to love it too. Could be the taste in music, could be anything, right? Once they find that connection, they're like, I'm going to check out this person. Let me see what they're talking about. Now they're paying attention to your marketing because you connected with them over something as simple as music.
you know, and it is critical that you be authentic. I heard this all the time for a number of years, and now I really understand it. It's be authentic. That's one of the, Melanie, you have lots of clients, and I'm going to hit you up right now. I'm looking for some MC work in London, in America. So talk to your clients, and if they're having an event, something, you say you want the best MC who's going to move your event along, you need to talk to my friend Steve Zapato. But one of the things that we talk about is if you offer clarity to people. See, I offered Melanie one solution to maybe something she will talk to her clients about. And I didn't say, hey, by the way, I do this and I do this and I do this and I do this. Here's one place for her to think, when do I ever need an MC? And the answer is maybe never, but maybe next week she'll talk to somebody who says, hey, we're doing PR and marketing for, and you go, oh, a big event? They go, yeah. You go, you have an MC for that already? And they're like, not yet. Boom. See? And
Yeah.
that offers clarity, because one thing I will tell you is if you offer too many solutions, people don't remember you. They won't remember you.
Yeah, they don't.
And so as we talk about what's in your life, we've thrown in a lot of stuff here too, because this is primarily about how to help you make more money. How do you grow your business? But it's also how to be more successful, how to be happier, right? We want you to be happier. And the way to happiness is to find out if you have a narcissistic person in your life, how to deal with them. And that's what Melanie's book is all about.
Yeah. I am so excited for people to read the chapter because it means the world to me, but I know it's going to help people and I know it's going to help them with their marketing because most people don't like marketing. I love it. I'm the freak in the room that can talk about it all day, every day.
And I'm gonna hit her up real hard because you see, now I know she has something that she wants to market. I'm going to be watching her real close to see how she markets her own book and her own chapter. Well, let's see, all right? What will
It's
she do and
interesting
how she
because
will
I've
do
been
it?
saying that. I've been saying now you can see me walk my talk because last year I helped a client with a book launch. So
Oh,
life has gone full circle now because doing all the promo for her, I'm now doing it for myself and I'm loving it.
cool. And you know, that's one of the things we're narrowing down to the last couple minutes here. And I want you all to understand that one of the things you will need to know about your life is how to improve it every day, how to be happier, how to find that place where you can be happy. And I talk to people, I'm in a retirement community, so 55 to 95-year-old people, and almost all of them talk about the bad things. They talk about, oh, you know what, I'm not feeling good. Oh, you know what, my leg is swelling up. Oh, you know what, my head is swelling up. Oh, you know what, I got to do. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. What I want to know is what makes you happy. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, you want to play cards? Hey, you want to have fun? You want to go to the pool? You want to play volleyball? You want to play pickleball? What do you want to do that makes you happy? People say to me all the time, Steve, why are you always in such a good mood? I go, why not? right? Why not?
We're
And
like
that's
the freaks in the room, aren't we?
that's
Like, why
right.
are you so happy? Well, why not?
That's
Exactly.
right. And so that's one of the things that you have to get beyond is um, yourself holding you back, right? Your self limitations. And that's what Melanie's book is all about, is helping you come out of your own shadow, or maybe the shadow that you've allowed somebody else to cast over you. And so
Mm.
we're going to include in the bio where you can pick up a copy of the book. And she said something about in the first week, it's going to be 99 cents. So we're going to be releasing this on about September 29th, let's say. And it's going to be 99 cents for the book. And I think you should jump all over it, right, Melanie?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it isn't just my story. There's going to be a lot of chapters in that book. I don't know how many. There's 60 something, I think. So there's a lot of chapters, all women sharing what they've been through, which is going to help so many people.
And that's what it's all about. I appreciate you being on today, Melanie, and we're going to help you market that book. So send me all the stuff you've got, and we'll make sure
I
it gets
will do.
included. And I'm Steve Sapato. You can reach me at steve@stevesapato.com. What I want you to do right now for me is click the subscribe button, because every week we help you find more happiness, more success, a future in your business that maybe you didn't quite think of or understand before listening to some of my guests. Again, steve@stevesapato.com, but click the subscribe button to know, like, and trust. And check out my Happiness Agenda podcast if you'd like to be happier, healthier, and have better relationships. Melanie, again, thanks for being on. I sure appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I hope you have a by the way, what time is it there for you right now?
It's just gone 4 o'clock in the afternoon for me
4 o'clock in the
now.
afternoon, and it's 11 o'clock here. So there's like 5 hours difference. So
Yeah.
hope you have a fabulous day, and everyone else, I hope you have a
You
blessed
too.
week. God bless.